Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about the 8-question follow-up. This is a very, very powerful tool for you. This has been perfected over the many years that Mr. Hager has built large organizations. I could go through the entire history of it, but I'm going to forego all that. If somebody wants to know how this all got developed, it actually was back when we used to run newspaper ads, if you can believe that, long before the advent of the internet. This industry has changed so much. It has gotten so much easier with the internet and being able to do webinars and stuff. And all of you have been doing a great job, or many of you, I shouldn't say all, but many of you have been doing great jobs getting your people started right by booking that VGO within their very first 72 hours. It gets them in action, helps them get a check in that very first week of business. It's so important to do. All right, we talk about get them in, keep them in, move them along. Getting them a check keeps them in. All right, so that's definitely what we want to do. And then we want to move them along with rank advancements, right? So this 8-question follow-up, you can find this in a couple different places. First of all, on your phone, if you're using your phone, when you're in the Team and Living section, you'll see there's a little button up here. That's your app. It's got the little icon with our Team and Living logo. If you click on that, it's going to bring up another screen. In this screen down here, right down here above the pictures, it's going to say media, files, and links. So if you're trying to find a link real easy, like a recorded webinar or something like that, you go to links. For this, it's going to be under files. Right now, the only one that's there is the Let's Go link or sheet. So if you're ever looking for that, that's an easy way to find it, right? Now, if you're working from a desktop, let me go to shared screen quick here, because it's a little different if you're working from the desktop. Here's Team and Living. You go to Team and Living up here, you click on that, and then there it is, one file. Right now, all that's there is the Let's Go, but that's how you can access all the pictures in that as well. So let me bring up this script. I'm going to go to full screen here. And what you see in this is a bunch of words. All right. So I want to break this down for you so that you can actually understand what you're looking at. And I want to give you a little bit of the flavor that goes with this. Okay. So this is not the initial reach, although it can be sometimes. And many of you are now beginning to be developing into these leaders and helping Elka and I out as well. And you're going to want to be able to teach this down yourself. Sometimes the people that you're bringing on, they're going to call upon you as a leader to do a 3-way call. And it might be an initial. They may not have seen anything yet, but this person's really hot about this person. They just want to get on the phone with you. So this 8-question follow-up can be used for that as well. But in general, what works best is that your prospect has seen something, and then you connect them with the leader that's doing the 3-way call for you. And when you do that, now this makes a lot more sense. So let's assume that you just did your VGO, and this training right now is primary for the leaders. This is not for the brand new people that just signed up. The leaders are the ones that are going to help out with the brand new people. But as you get more and more experience, you're going to want to learn this. All right. And that's why when you're listening to these leaders and you're doing a 3-way call, especially a 3-way follow-up, you want to definitely have a notepad, and you want to have a pen in your hand. Your journal is what I would recommend, and be taking down notes as to how they're maneuvering the conversation. It's not by accident that your leaders are having success in closing people. All right. This is a science, and then the science becomes an art. So everybody's got their own little flavor, their own little way of doing it, and it works. All right. So if your leader's having success, you definitely want to be taking notes anytime you're on the phone with them. All right. So how does this thing work? All right. Here's the follow-up script along with an 8-question close that, when used properly and completely, has proven time after time to get positive results. It gets the person thinking right. And that's the primary thing. Repeating the prospect's name over and over again is very, very important. And it doesn't matter how they got here. Somehow, maybe it was a webinar, maybe it was a recorded webinar, maybe it was a VGO, maybe you emailed them some information, or some other person did, and then now you're being used as a 3-way follow-up. Whatever it is, they're in front of you now on the phone or in person, doesn't matter. And you start the conversation off, right? Hey, what got you most excited about what you just saw? Right? That's one of the very first questions. What did you like best about what you've seen thus far? That is another way of putting it. Or if they're just coming off a VGO, then it's, what did you like best about what you just saw? All right. And it's done with enthusiasm and excitement, right? And then So here you go. Well, I'm going to use Bob because Bob that's what I use in my book. That's what I use for everything. So I'm going to say, hey, Bob, what did you like best about what you've seen so far? And you be quiet and you listen to their entire response. All right. You as the person doing this also ought to have a notepad and pen in your hand. I am feverishly writing anytime I'm doing a three-way. I'm walking around, and then when they say something of significance, I am writing it down because I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to utilize their own words to help them understand why they want to do this, right? So I'm finding out right now, step number one, what did you like best about what you've seen so far? And then you affirm, that is right, Bob. I couldn't agree with you more. The income potential, the kind of money people are making here is one of the things I like best as well. It's really amazing. Now, let me ask you this, Bob. What's your occupational background? Now, even if you already know the answer to this, like say, you know that Bob is a car salesman, for instance, all right? Or you know Bob is a doctor, or you know that Bob is a machinist, or he's a factory worker, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, a teacher, it doesn't matter again. You can just you adjust the question. So Bob, tell me, I mean, how are things going as a teacher right now with the schools being closed and everything? I mean, what do you see your future being there? Okay, so now I just kind of combine 2 and 3 in there, but the idea is get them talking about themselves. As they do, they're gonna give you information that is very important for you to be able to help them understand why Sealy by Design is going to be beneficial for them to get started in. Okay, so this is starting a dialogue. It's building rapport. You're getting that person to talk about themselves. And now you can elicit that information from them to be able to use later on. So that's the reason why you want to be taking notes. So if you don't know this person, like say they came off a VGO, even though you got your VGO list with you and it might say a teacher, it doesn't matter. They don't know that you got that list. Hey, tell me again, Bob, what is your occupational background? Or if you don't know what it is, hey, Bob, tell me, what's your occupational background? You know, what do you do for a living? You know, are you gainfully employed right now? The other thing that's going to tell you is where are you going to go with the close? If this guy is you know, a 6-figure income earner on Wall Street, you're going for the Pro Pack. If this person is, you know, a janitor somewhere and they're making, you know, $30,000-$40,000 a year, well, maybe you want to back that off and help them understand why the intro pack is really important for them. If they're somewhere in between, you're going for the networker pack or hopefully the Pro Pack. All right. So there is a lot of reasons to ask this question, even if you already know what their occupation is. Don't skip it. All right. Now, interesting. Well, Bob, how does the future look there? Right. We're trying to get, hey, maybe it's looking fantastic. And no matter what they say, you agree with them. Right. So, oh, and you know, he's working on Wall Street. He's making 6 figures, blah, blah, blah. Fantastic, Bob, man. That's awesome. Now you got to maneuver the conversation as to why would Sealy be worth his while, right? If a person's already making 6 figures, you need to be thinking bigger money here. If a person's making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, heck, an extra $5,000 or $10,000 a month is going to rock their boat because it's doubling their income, right? So that's all the stuff that's going on in your mind as you're doing this 3-way follow-up, okay? Obviously, the sweetest sound of anyone's ears is the sound of their own name, so use it often. So now on to question 4. So Bob, let me ask you, do you have any other source of income other than your job or your business? All right. You're kind of giving, you're digging a little deeper into their story. All right. Now, at this point or after they answer that is where I like to give my little 30-second commercial, you know, give a little bit of how did you get started here? I mean, Bob doesn't know you either, right? Other than the edification that the person that brought Bob to you on the phone gave, Bob doesn't know you from Adam, maybe. All right. So if it's done after a VGO. So example, this may be great for you. We didn't really have any other sources of income either. We saw this as a possible way to make some extra money and to take some well-deserved vacations, whatever you want to do, whatever fits your boat, you know, whatever comes from the heart, then allow that to come out for you. All right. Well, Bob, this business could be a great fit for you. This is a perfect time to start earning some really good income on a part-time basis. And the inflections are important too. accents, a little bit of pauses here. You're not just reading this as this is a perfect time to start earning some really good income on a part-time basis. You know, there's no energy behind that. Well, Bob, I mean, this business could be a great fit for you. This is a perfect time. I mean, this COVID virus thing has been kind of a blessing in disguise. Our business is rocking. The company just had its best month in this past for this year. I mean, things are going fantastic. So, Bob, I mean, you could really earn some good income on a part-time basis here. So that's how you take the words that are in this paragraph and start adding some music to it. Now, this next one here says, let me see, I'm gonna get my pointer up here and get all fancy on you. All right. So Bob, tell me, if you were to get started with us here in Sealy, how much money would you like to make on a monthly basis? Okay. I probably should have that on a monthly basis. I like that better. Just starting up on a part-time basis, then not disturbing what you're currently doing. All right. So how could you do this in a natural flow of a conversation? Well, Bob, you know, so you just finished this question first up here about any other sources of income, and maybe they have some and you want to affirm that too. And then you get into this, well, you know, there's some really good income that you can make here on a part-time basis. So Bob, tell me, I mean, if you were to do something like this with us with Sealy, how much money, what would make a difference in your life? What would make this worthwhile in your life on a monthly basis? For your effort and your time that you're going to be spending in this, what kind of income are we talking about that's going to make a difference for you? All right. So you can, this is the verbiage here. It's just black and white, but put it more into a conversation. All right. And then great, Bob, you can definitely make X amount of dollars, whatever they said, $2,000 a month, $5,000 a month. Those will be some pretty common answers in there. Well, I mean, I'm telling you, Bob, I mean, we got people doing that already here with very little experience or no experience. And all they're doing is tapping into our system and they're already making thousands of dollars a month. So let me ask you something else, Bob. To make that $2,000 on a monthly basis, how many hours a week would you be willing to invest? I mean, part-time. And then affirm their answer again. I just did this with one of our members yesterday, and the gentleman told me he'd be willing to put in 40 hours a week. Well, what does that tell you? That's telling you he's thinking of a job. And in fact, this whole conversation with him, I could not break him out of the job mentality. So when he says 40 hours a week, I'll tell you what, you put 40 hours a week into this, you're going to be shooting to the top of the chart. All right. I mean, you're really going to excel. Most people cannot afford to put 40 hours a week into their part-time business. Okay. So what we typically say is 7 to 10 hours a week. So if a person comes back and says, well, I'd be willing to put in 20 hours a week. Oh my God, 20 hours a week, you could definitely make that extra $2,000 to $5,000 in a very short period of time. And let me ask you, if you were putting in this amount of time, let me get to the next one, because guess what's coming next? Let me ask you, Bob, to make that $2,000 or $5,000 and working a couple, hours a week or 7 to 10 hours a week, could you put together a 20 sharp entrepreneur people like yourself and allow us to present this information to them with you? This is setting up the VGO, right? So then the next one, well, Bob, if you're serious about putting in that 7 to 10 hours a week and you can put that kind of people together, I'll tell you what, we can go to work for you. And I'm sure that we can definitely find a fit for you here with Sealy. And with our system, you can start making money almost immediately. I can't promise you anything, right? We can't make a guarantee. We can't say you are going to make that kind of money, but chances are you could be making that kind of money. We have many people that already are. All right. And then I like to throw in, how teachable and coachable are you? That's not here, but I love to add that as well. And then Bob, let me ask you a final question. Since you've now seen the entire presentation and understand the income potential, what kind of budget can you see yourself starting with? All right. Now that comes from the way we used to do this a long time ago. I mean, almost like a cold prospect. You could change that up and just say, hey, how do you see yourself getting started? I almost kind of like that better. Maybe I'll change it. I don't know. But what kind of budget do you see yourself starting with? That's kind of getting into helping them understand how they're going to be able to handle the initial outlay financially. But understand this, whatever they say, you can always go back to, hey, if it's an intro pack or higher, then you retail out the remaining products. You're going to get all your money back with a profit. And we have a system and way to help you be able to do that as well. All right. Now, those are the 8 questions. They go in order, and it's very powerful. And the other thing is, when you're sitting there and you've got, say, me on the phone, just use me. You got me on the phone. You ought to have, and if you're doing this with me, I expect you to have an application in front of you to start taking down their information immediately. I will tell you what, as you have seen, there's some hiccups as of the moment of this recording. There's still some hiccups getting people signed up with their credit card. Hopefully that's all going to get resolved here as we move along, and it will. But right now it's a little bit of a challenge. What we don't want is a consistent challenge with these people signing themselves up. One of the things that some of them do, they try to run it, and then they try to run it again, and then they try to run it again, and it locks them out, and there's nothing we can do except get a hold of corporate. So a better way to do this is to just take down all their information, to include their social security number. Generally, people don't balk at it. If they do, you help them understand it's because the government's going to cut you a 1099. If you decide to build this as a business, start making money, the government going to want their cut. Usually they'll accept that. You can also ask them if they've already got a business, if you'd like to put it under an EIN number. That's like a social security number for a business. And then if they really balk and balk and balk, then fine, go, hey, I'm going to walk you through setting up. All right. And then you get them on a computer and you start walking them through the process right then, right there. Don't delay. Now, if they say, I need to think about it, great. Consumer Pack. That's the way for you to get started right now, Bob. There's not a better way, because now you can start looking in, investigating, do your due diligence from the inside. Now you can start looking at our back office. You can start looking at all the resources, all the tracking tools. You can see the system in full action, which you can't do unless you get a position. So doesn't it make sense, Bob, that we just get you at least that position? And get this, Bob, you have up to 30 days to upgrade to one of those higher packs and get that rank promotion. So again, we're going for an intro pack or higher. Pro pack is always the best. Same amount of effort, a lot more volume for you and the team. And it helps this person because now they're a C5 for 90 days. At least that's the way it's laid out at the time of this recording. All right, Consumer Pack, they've got to do some work in order to start earning the bonuses, right? They got to get themselves to a C2 before they can start earning those team commissions. Where if you come in at an intro pack and they start putting people in, even if they're going down just both legs, so you're getting the team, but they don't have their customers yet, or the volume yet, they're still going to earn that team bonus. And then at the C5, it goes up from 10% up to 13%. So that's the other big advantage there. C3, obviously you're maximizing out the retail, you're maximizing out the personal sales bonus. So there's all the reasons to get them started at intro pack or higher. The only reason a person should get started as a consumer pack with a consumer pack is A, they have absolutely no desire to build a business, but they're a family member and you want to give them a good price. All right. That's the only reason why I do that. The other reason is because they want to think about it. They're not sure what they want to do with this. They want to try the product. They're adamant, I have to be a believer in the product in order to build this. All right, well, fine. Consumer Pack is the place for you then. Those are the only 2 real reasons why I can see getting started with a consumer pack. Everything else should be an intro pack or higher, or the finances don't allow. Obviously, right now, with what's going on in our economy at the time of this recording, that it could be a challenge too. So after you get through these 8 questions, which I'm telling you, when you get really good at this, you'll probably get down about here. All right, about questions 4 or 5, maybe into 6. Very rarely will you be able to even have to get into 7 and 8. That probably will come up in conversation naturally. And then you start filling out the application. Now, great. I just need to get a little info from you so we can start putting you into the system, start helping you make, putting people in your business, money into your bank account ASAP. And you can start earning that $2,000 to $5,000 amount. Oops, there's a typo. Said they would like to make. All right. Prospect's name, how do you spell your last name, address, phone number, start filling out the application. Boom. They get that done. Once you get them in the system, what I like to do and what Elka and I have been doing, we've been teaching down, is that before they're off the phone, we get them set up on Telegram. Don't just send them the let's go sheet here and expect them to do it. chances are they're going to get distracted. They're already probably worn out, right? And oh, I'll do it later. No, we want to get them on Telegram immediately. So get right away with them while you're still on the phone with them. Okay, Bob, go ahead and pull out your phone. I want you to go to your app store, whether it's a Droid or it's the Google Play Store if it's Droid, an app store if it's an iPhone, and download Telegram messaging. It's that blue circle with a white airplane. You see it? Great. Go ahead and download that. There's a couple steps to getting it set up. Let me know when you got it all set up. While he's doing that, hey, how's the weather out there in Chicago right now, or Florida, or wherever he's at? Maybe a little small talk. He finally gets that all. Okay, guy, I got that all done. Great. I'm gonna text you 2 links. And all you got to do now is just click on those links and you're good to go. And you're going to be connected. And then I'm going to send you this Let's Go sheet. Go ahead and do that. The very first thing I want you to do right away, Bob, don't delay. Watch this SealyFastStart.com bonus. This is our business plan. This is how we're going to get you to that $2,000 to $5,000 a month. We're going to do that hopefully very quickly for you. Get all your money back that you just spent to get your products. We want to get you all that money back and more. So watch this quickly. I mean, don't delay in watching this, and then follow the other steps. The next important thing is going to be your what to do first training. All that's explained on this Let's Go sheet. No problems. Just give me a call if you got any questions. And then what's the next step? Booking the VGO. Now, let me ask you something, Bob. And this, I'm still on the phone with them from signing them up, right? Let me ask you something else, Bob. If you didn't get to question 7, now's the time to bring it up. If they did get to question 7, then you can go back to it. Remember when I asked you about if you could put 20 people, sharp entrepreneurial type people like yourself on a private webinar just for you? Tell you what, when would you like to do that? Today's Tuesday, right? So let's say, hey, would you be ready by Friday night or Saturday afternoon? I'll tell you what, we normally don't even start inviting until 2 to 3 days out. I want to give you a couple days to get through the trainings and start making your list of people, and then we can start inviting, and we'll even help you do that. So in other words, we're leading them, all right? We're leading them to success. We're not leaving anything to chance. The more that you can explain this up front and get them the information, and hopefully they've got a pen and paper. You should have instructed them to make sure that they have a pen and paper and they're writing down this stuff as well. And if you can, if it's worthwhile, it depends on the hunger of the person. Some people are like, no, I really want to try the product, and I'm really happy to be here, but I'm a little bit of a slow mover. You go, okay, that's fine. What time next week would you like to book your VGO? Right? I want to book that VGO before I get off the phone with them. That's just me. I'm aggressive. My wife says maybe I'm too aggressive at times. That's fine. Work with the person where they're at. If they don't want to do it right then, no, that's fine, Bob. I'll tell you what, let's set up a time tomorrow. We'll just kind of catch up, get where you're at. And then on 2 days from now, so on Thursday, let's also have a talk again. And maybe by then you'll be through that Sealy Fast Start and the getting started training, and we can book your VGO from there. All right. That's the flavor. This follow-up script is very powerful if you utilize it. Make it conversational, make it all about them. Do share a story about yourself. Remember, in sales, feel, felt, found works still phenomenally today. Hey, Bob, I understand what you're saying. I felt the same way. Here's what I found. And that's it, right? So yeah, I understand. I didn't have a secondary income. My gosh, I could have really used it when such and such happened. Right now, I'm out of work basically with the airline industry. I'm so glad I've got a secondary income, right? So I can feel what you're saying. And this is what I found. Thank goodness I had this going in my hip pocket. So that's kind of the idea of the feel, felt, found. Anyhow, I hope you guys find this valuable. I'm want to again, kudos to everybody that's out there and getting this and doing it. And we're here for you. If you have any questions on this video, I'll be more than happy to get those answers for you as well. All right. Talk to you later, guys. Bye. And gals. All right. Bye-bye.